Alright, this is Middle Class Matt, and I am Sports Genius. I predicted and did a preview of the North Carolina State game versus UNC. Big Tar Heel fan. From North Carolina, born and raised, diehard, bleed blue Tar Heel fan. I predicted, though, that State would beat them. I was able to be objective. This is something that Duke fans have a ton of difficulty of being, is objective, even though it's my team. I pulled for UNC, but I realized they would probably lose by double digits. Now, UNC played better than I thought they would. They actually got down by a lot, but fought back, showed a lot of fight. They went down by 28 points. They could have rolled over and said, nah, the State team's better. And they are. They're one of the most talented teams, if not the most talented team in the country. I was saying in my preview video that 1 through 6 are as talented as anyone in the country. I'd go as far, too, as to say that every one of those 1 through 6 that play for State, they're starting and then they're 6-man. They may not be superstars. They may not make a career out of it. But they will play in the NBA. I believe all 6 of those guys will get a shot and will be on an NBA team at one time or another. And yet Carolina was able to battle back. State a lot of times shows kind of laziness, the ability to step on another team's throat, put them away, the dagger, whatever you want, whatever cliche you like better. They did that against Wake Forest and lost. They're at State. They're motivated. Another thing that I forgot to talk about in the preview was that first Carolina beating them 13 times in a row. 13 times in a row. Of course, that motivated State. And then another thing, too, and you can go back if you want to hear some other motivational factors and watch my preview video for this North Carolina State game, is that UNC dislikes State and wants to beat them. State, on the other hand, and their fan base especially, hates UNC. It's big cultural differences between the two teams, and they hate UNC. UNC fans don't necessarily hate State fans. They're sort of annoying to us, loudmouth, whatever you want to say, but they hate UNC. And so that was a big motivating factor for State tonight. Now, in one of my points in my preview and my prediction of the game, like I said, I predicted State to win. I predicted them to win by double digits. Carolina played a little bit better than I thought. I think when State comes to Chapel Hill, Carolina might have something for them. But was point guard play. I also talked about big men, but to be honest with you, considering the situation, which I'll get to later, UNC's big men played pretty well. Bryce Johnson and James played very well. Very well. Got a lot more production than most probably UNC fans or even Roy Williams thought. But Lorenzo Brown is one of the best point guards in the country. And a lot of people are giving, Burke up at Michigan all the props. Lorenzo Brown is a prototypical pro point guard. That's what I've talked about. And in transition, he's dangerous. Label him at 6'5". He's probably more like 6'3.5", 6'4", but he's still a big guard who can handle the ball and pass and score. He had a monster game, and Carolina had no answer. Marcus Page had an awful game. Couldn't guard Lorenzo Brown, couldn't score against him. And I thought possibly Dexter Strickland would guard Lorenzo Brown. I'm sure he did at some points, but Marcus Page was on him a good bit. Lorenzo Brown filled up the stat sheet in every category, but 20 and 11. That's all-American type. That's a monster game against a top-level competition. 20 and 11. This guy is a dynamic point guard. And I was saying it earlier, to me, it's a clear lottery pick. I don't see how you wouldn't. He, to me, fits the mold of a prototypical point guard. I haven't watched Burke play yet, and I will, and I'll probably get back of who I think's better between the two, but I've seen his stats, and he is burning it up there in Michigan. Next, and last thing probably I'm going to go into, is that Carolina probably is going to lose anyway. I predicted them to lose. I wasn't upset, but State fans love to complain. Carolina gets all the calls. They get all the calls. You complain about Duke as a UNC fan, you get all the calls. Come on now. In the first 2 minutes, 2 fouls on McAdoo. Come on now. Pretty much the game was over. Because UNC needed all their horses. And the fouls that they called, the first one was a bad call. The second one was atrocious. Terrible. Called a reach in the guy's hand straight up. Straight up. On McAdoo. When McAdoo goes down, and McAdoo still had a good game. 13 points, 11 rebounds. He still had a good game inside. but they took him out of the game. And he played very limited minutes. You're talking about someone who played only 15, 20 minutes the whole game, something like that. So the refs really did him injustice. There's a guy named Mike Eads, and he's a real Duke lover, and just kind of a bad ref, I think, in general, not very good. And he made the call, and everybody, even the announcers, it was a mystery. So that really, and State complained about last year about not getting the calls, even though one of Carolina's best players fouled out. Most important players fouled out in the last game they played him in the tournament, but they complained about the last call. It's typical of State fans to do that. State got the calls tonight. Probably wouldn't have mattered anyway. They made more free throws than Carolina shot. So let's don't talk about Carolina getting the calls anymore for the State fans. We're done with that. Check you next time. Check out all my videos. Check out my Austin Rivers video. It's great. It's when he got in a fight back when he played at Duke, or when he was going to Duke. See you next time. It's Middle Class Matt.